Welcome to the Superfacts Show on the Superfacts Network, featuring St. Laz, who also hosts the popular web series Gem Pop, and music journalist Mark Walter Ward. They have discussions about hip-hop, culture, society, philosophy, and everything else. Now available on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward, Superfacts Show, Superfacts Network. Man, tonight we got with us somebody, man, you should follow him and subscribe. That'd be beneficial. You should check his tags because he beneficial. It's my man Nesby Phips from New Orleans. How you doing, brother?
Well, I was handling, brother.
Man, I can't call it. I spent the day listening to your music. I listened to your projects. I went on some of the deeper cuts. Man, that little feature in Nesby Phips playlist on Spotify is pretty vicious. Like one joint I never heard that really got me, that Blue and Green with Ski Beats, man. That's some fire flame.
They have that on Spotify.
Yeah.
For real, I gotta check that. I didn't know it was in the stores. I didn't know it was in stores like that. Cause that was a Miles Davis sample. And
it looked like a user uploaded it.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it was from a mixtape, so maybe it slipped through the algorithm somewhat.
It definitely did, because that's a Miles Davis sample. But we was originally making that song. Ski Beach was working with the state because he did something with they was working with this wine company or something. They were doing a collab on like a Bitches Brew collab from Miles' album.
Right.
Working with like a wine beer company, so he was in cahoots with the state. So that's what a lot of that stuff came about, because he had done songs with Miles Davis and with a couple of other people, but that was the one that really kind of took over.
Man, good. And I ain't trying to be condescending or patronizing in the slightest, but good for you for knowing about that Bitches Brew, man. I got a ton of Miles Davis LPs back there, and man, it's you know, like you see, like, I mean, and no disrespect to the Rolling Stones or any of that shit, but you know, like it's always the same music that they put in movies for Vietnam or Mafia or whatever. And I just wish more people knew about Miles Davis, that you know, he was a little more culturally relevant, although he'll always be culturally relevant. You feel me?
Nah, he definitely was, right? Because he lasted through so many eras. It's one of his biographies, one of my favorite biographies. I reference it a lot. And yeah, his music cold-blooded, bro. He's one of the illest.
And no doubt, as is your close relation with Mahalia Jackson. You know, last time we talked, you were talking about y'all were trying to put a biopic together. Has there been any progress made on that?
No, and I'm not working. I was one of the directors. I was the director of the state, and I'm not in that position anymore. My aunt is doing it now. We both served as a proxy for my grandmother. It was her seat on the board, and but none of the people. There's like 4 productions out right now. Ironically, they all black-owned productions, and nobody ever really got the family involved, which is a big a big oversight, and that shouldn't have happened, but it did. So we don't have any involvement with any of the biopics that's going on. I actually just watched some of the one on Lifetime that Robin Roberts produced, and it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good.
Damn, I mean, you think of nothing else, they would want you to be the musical director, because like at the end of the day, like you know, that's profit-driven shareholder shit, and you know, any cruelness to your family is probably indirect. Like they didn't just say we're gonna say F them, but like their job is to make a quality product, and it seems like it would just be easier.
Their job is to make a product. The quality don't matter. It's more about where the money's going, and you know, they try to control it and keep the lion's share, and just like doing right by the project, or rather the legacy of the.
Nah, you right. Hell yeah, you right. You're right. The goal is just a project, not a quality project. But I would like to think that if one had Nesby Phips as the musical director, the resulting quality in and of itself would make the project more profitable.
Well, more so just anybody with the family with a, you know, she has a living estate, and getting the blessing from the living estate is the proper way to do things, and they just chose to do the opposite. So, and that's what I learned about Hollywood.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry that happened, bro. That's a shame. That's a shame. But I mean, what can you do, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Hey, man. You know, I was checking out your Wikipedia, and I had a little chuckle at this. It either said culturally in New Orleans, right? And then it said for publications or outlets. I ain't gonna get the exactly right, but I get the gist of it. For publications or outlets such as Complex or Viceland, Phips has often served as a cultural liaison for the city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And you know, earlier I said condescending and patronizing. I mean, we're talking about one of the most hospitable cities in the world. One of the most, you know, whether projected properly or not, but aware of in the media. And what the fuck do they mean cultural liaison? I mean, obviously you're well steeped in the culture, but like what they need a cultural liaison for? What, how is that your title? What does that involve? Do you consider yourself that?
I do a good, so our culture is pungent, right? And I am a good communicator and interpreter of what's going on in the culture. And that's what my name has kind of been.
Is it so impenetrable though that they need that? Like I've been to New Orleans before. Like it seems like you could just immerse yourself and
Nah, you can't. You can't. You really can't. It's, you got to know your points of entry. And
it's bigger than Bourbon Street, huh?
Well, Bourbon Street is obsolete. That's like trying to gauge New York by Times Square.
Word.
Like that's just
man, well said.
It's just a moneymaker or a draw, rather. Locals don't really have much to do with Bourbon Street. You know, half of the, if not all of the bars down there are owned by foreigners and out of towners and stuff like that.
I ain't been post Katrina, bro, except on the Greyhound on my way to Houston.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a different world down here. And if you don't know, because it's a living, breathing culture, but it's not, there's no bulletin board for it. There's no, you know, itinerary that's easily accessible for anybody that just strolls through I-10 in New Orleans to know where to go to the Indian practices or the second lines, or knowing to go to mother-in-law lounge and see Curren and them perform, or posting up on the bridge on La Harpe and Claiborne right in front of Cajun Seafood at the right time on Sunday. You know, you got.
I did a few of those things though. You know, like you know, I hollered at the taxi driver. Like when I go somewhere, like you know, I know it's always more like. I mean, I guess like why they can't get the local flavor on their own. I mean, I see how you could be a point of entry and everything.
But because it's just not that simple. You know?
Yeah, and you get and let's be and directly as possible while being indirect. Might these be people that might not know how to move and they need guidance on how to act?
Well, it is somebody who just from outside of, you know, just the culture or Black culture period, they just don't understand. And a lot of times, especially in the post-Katrina world and where gentrification is real big and appropriation, and people kind of just take the key elements of the culture and kind of and make off with it and have their own profit. I can't credit some of these people of taking the proper steps to get a validated source from the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
And I work in academia a lot, and you know, my name. That's a lot of times people enter it through that sector. Like, you know, I work with the Amistad Research Center, and they have one of the largest African American collections, art, music, you name it, writing, you name it. And I was the community consultant for the NOLA Hip Hop Archive. And so a lot of times, you know, the out-of-towners, the foreigners and stuff, they'll come through looking for a contact from the culture. And I wind up being the go-to guy because of that, you know. So there's a lot of reasons why I kind of fell into that slot. And then once the momentum kind of starts, you know, I become the go-to guy, you know.
Hey man, that's way more significant than curating some playlist for a streamer, man. Can you tell me about some of the more esoteric details that involves in that job of you know, helping compile the history of that music?
Well, it's really just like it's very passive for me because I grew up in it, right? And just making sure that I connect the writers and the ethnographers with the proper people, the people who actually matter, the people who are really there to live through it, and just making sure everything is validated.
Do you still get to learn though? I mean, like, it's just now you said you grew up in it, but like, is it something that's still?
There's always a detail I didn't know, like how Manny Fresh and KLC they pretty much came up together in music, because at one point it looked like Cash Money versus a No Limit, when it never really was that. And like there was a big club called Club Rumors back in the late '80s and the early '90s. They were the two DJs that was really holding it down and pushing the culture, pushing the music during the time. And it's just you learn stuff about how people are connected. Is kind of like how Jay-Z, Busta, and Biggie all went to the same high school type of shit, right?
Word.
Like backstory.
Or like how you, Curren, and Wayne, and Mack Maine all went to the same high school.
All us went to Mack Maine. That was the name of the school, Mack Maine. So, like, you get to learn stuff like that, because a lot of those guys, they are ahead of me. They got me by 10 years and stuff like that. So, to kind of learn that backstory on them when you get all into it, and you sit through those interviews and stuff, because I sat in on some of those interviews, like Fiend, a couple other people. You get to learn that type of backstory type of stuff. So, that's always an exciting part.
I grew up in a majority Black neighborhood during the era of crack, PG County, DC, right over, or PG County, Maryland, right over the line from DC. But I also had white relatives who lived over the bridge in Virginia who were in much better circumstances. Right. And like I wasn't no hotep or nothing, but a couple times I would bring up the dichotomies that I saw from having come from a white neighborhood at the age of 13 to being like in the heart of like literally like snowfall levels type shit, like motherfuckers getting killed and everything.
Yeah, that was the beautiful Edmonds era up there.
Yeah, definitely. One of my aunties used to. Well, we could get into Rayful Edmonds, but I had like 2 degrees of separation. I met Rayful Edmonds a couple times before it all went down. But they didn't believe me about. I tell them about how like what I was seeing, and it was almost like Black Death was a business, and they wouldn't believe me. Or like I remember my one aunt who to her credit ended up apologizing to me and volunteering and teaching literacy programs at the county jail before she got too old to do it. She called me a flat out liar on Thanksgiving. And the Biggie and Tupac shit kind of tied with the Rampart scandal, because there's some newspaper reading motherfuckers that kind of got them saying a little bit, right? But the whole way the media, specifically the so-called friends of rap hip hop media, tried to pit Cash Money and No Limit against each other. I used to use as my proof of concept that at least to some group of the populace, Black Death is profitable, and they're trying to keep business booming. Because they can say they wanted to see the music or the diss songs or whatever, but anybody who know that what that shit really lead to, especially in New Orleans in those days, and basically they're trying to be the harbingers of Black Death.
Yeah.
While they're marketing a product of Black people.
100%, you hit the nail on the head.
And I remember like when woke used to be like realizing that type shit, as opposed to like trying to get everybody to conform to your ideals.
Right. Straight up.
But like, so in the city though, it never really was too much friction between Cash Money and No Limit.
It really wasn't. It was sort of a manufactured thing, man. Because at one point, Baby had stepped to P to consider getting a distribution deal through him, because P had his deal first. And they both came to the realization that it'll be advantageous if they wind up getting their own situation. That way the pie don't have to get divvied up like that or whatnot, So, like it really wasn't it was an assumed beef, but there was never nothing like going down in the street or nothing shit. P wasn't even really here. Baby and them was the ones that was here. P was out in Richmond, and then he moved out. When he did come back, he was out in Baton Rouge, which is to kind of run a clean operation, but it wasn't what you thought it was. That was really no beef, brother.
I mean, I could always tell just from the periphery about how much crossover it was. Like for one thing, Currency is very well known, catalog well regarded, got like dedicated fans. But I feel his verses on the 504 Boy albums is like some of the most underlooked things in rap history.
Yeah, he was doing his thing at that time, man. We were super young then.
So was you around like when he was doing the stuff he did for No Limit?
Yeah, so we had just graduated probably like 2, 3 years prior to all that, and he was already running with Doe and Tough Guys and all them, and other boys out the Cali. Doe got killed, so then he moved over to the No Limit label. Um, and I was cutting hair. I just had my first kid, and I was just doing beats at the crib. He didn't really believe I was doing beats at the time. That's when being a producer wasn't common, you know what I'm saying? And he hadn't seen the internet wasn't a thing, and he hadn't like seen me in action just yet. But Mack Maine, he was the one that was closest to me doing music because I was cutting his hair. He'd be at my house all the time. He was one of the people I was recording with on the regular. And then Currency got with Cash Money, and then
First Young Money artist.
Yeah, and then he started, seeing my beats kept coming up in circulation in the studio. They recorded the 2, 3 of them. They had this one track. It was Wayne Spitter and Mac on it. It was very unorthodox. And when he left, he hit me up saying that, man, there was some beats on the CD I never did get a chance to get to, the whole 9, and that's when we floated over into the Fire Society Jet Life situation together. And then, we kind of just, everything we did, it was kind of landing. So, our history is our history from that.
Hey, I love talking about the all good times. So was you around for the Squad Up? I mean, I guess I don't want to be pretentious, but let's say the Squad Up sessions.
No, I wasn't involved with the Squad Up sessions. I knew Gutter real well. He and I had a mutual friend. We used to hang out together and stuff. And me and Gutter still cool. Because that, around the time when Young Money really started to blow, when they had the big trifecta with Nicki, Drake, and Wayne, I was the barber. I was the traveling barber with them. So I always maintained a healthy, good relationship with Young Money, but I wasn't in the Squad Up sessions. They would mostly be by DJ Rod Smooth and stuff. I was on my Family Man shit and just making beats in my daughter's closet, and then trying to wiggle my way into certain rooms and stuff like that. But when Katrina hit, somewhere between Katrina hitting, me being in the same city, which was Atlanta, when Young Money had set up the offices around that time, and Drake was around. Like I was cutting Drake before he blew, when he was just the quiet light, and it was just like right place, right time, right relationships. So I was more so around for the blow up of YMCMB, more than I was close in the studios and stuff for the Squad Up era.
I didn't much hear about the, because that was kind of like when things like that would be a little regional unless you knew the right person. Yeah. So like, without getting all into it, I basically, I came home from the penitentiary. I thought my space was lame. I only started fucking with computers to get access to music because I knew about shit. Like, I'm from the DC area, and I knew Devin had been in a group called Odd Enough or Odd Squad, Fat Enough for Everybody. And I found out I could get that shit online because I couldn't get it in no record store, so that got me into it. Point being, so I learned about the Squad Up Jones through the internet, and I was just curious, and it was maybe years after, 3 or 4 years after. What kind of impact did they have? Because like to the perception of those around me, I've been locked up down south and I was back up north. They kind of thought Wayne had fallen off a little bit with 500 Degrees compared to what he had done before that, and like Squad Up like rebirthed him to the point that they got excited for the Carter, because like we ain't really catch like none of them shits he had done with Khaled or nothing,
Yeah, he followed the footsteps of what he was saying going on with the Clue tapes and shit like that up in New York, you know what I'm saying? And he developed his own crew, and it was basically the New Orleans version of like a state property, if you will,
Yeah.
And the impact was great on a very organic level, a grassroots level. To say he came from a mainstream commercial space, he had really put his feet on the pavement when he started doing that. And then from that, he started touring Florida real heavy up and down with Cali, Cali from New Orleans. And he was just tearing up the interstate. He was tearing up I-95, just club dates, whatever. And that a lot of that gained momentum from Squad, the transition from Cash Money kind of like rearranging their roster to the Squad Up thing, and then he started gaining that new momentum post 500 Degrees, finding that new sound, creating that new energy, and his formula was to keep rapping his way to the top.
And he made all them East Coast cats who cared about lyrics before anything else, because like some shit's undeniable. You feel me? And like the lyrics was just undeniable, and that made people look at him in a whole different light.
Yeah. I mean, he's a smart dude, though. In addition to being a dope rapper, a lot of what you see him doing is because he's an intelligent guy. He's a gifted student, all A student, so he adjusts well. Like he picked.
I mean, in one way, bro, he had the most successful marketing campaign in history. The whole time he's got record executives telling him he's crazy for giving out free music that people love.
He was ahead of the game, and his productivity was so high that didn't matter to him. And like, I don't even know that he realized that he was ahead of the game when he increased his productivity, because technology, it kind of turned up the turnover of music and putting stuff out, and the accessibility, and he was right on time with it. It was divine timing, really.
Hey, I'm sure everybody want to know some messy shit, some ratchet shit, some celebrity shit. But I got a different kind of behind the scenes question. If you cut in half all these famous people, like while they doing all this big shit, and I'm sure you must have been in mad different, billboards, whatever. I'm curious. You seen the real truth about everything as much as you can, see of people around you, and then you seen how the media was covering it. Let's say percentage wise, how much just outright fabrication was it?
What fabrication of what?
Of how the media reported events regarding Drake, Young Money, Nicki Minaj, from the relevant blogs to the so-called gatekeepers of musical culture.
I don't know. I never really kept up with the news part of things,
So you never would hear like when there'd be all the rumors about like how many times Hip Hop Weekly would put some shit about like Nicki and Drake dating with a question mark on the cover?
Nah, I don't. I literally to this day I don't even watch TV. I don't even read comments on Instagram, bro. I didn't tap into none of that. But I can't tell you what I saw. It was a family vibe around there. You know what I'm saying? For being on the road with them, being in the studio with them, they was like getting it. Like you see what they accomplished.
Oh yeah. Like I feel like, not to oversell myself, I can read between the lines. That seemed like a well-oiled machine that was about getting its product out, and people just doing all them like drugs or all fucking each other or all that shit. That shit don't last long. That shit's not successful.
Listen to me. You'd be surprised how much it was all about the music.
I totally believe it.
The music speak, like the impact spoke for itself. There wasn't a wild messy shit going on in the background. And weird. Now while I was around, I ain't seen none of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they were literally just building something that was bigger than they even understood, but it was literally just about going in, because everybody had that same spirit about, oh, you coming hard like that? Well, I'm gonna come harder. Like Wayne's very competitive, no matter who comes in the room. Because my little homie Jay Jones from the hood, he when he came along in Young Money, him and Wayne got along good because they were just both workhorses in the studio. And here it is, legendary classic GOAT Wayne is still like matching wits with this young kid fresh out of Hollygrove. Like that what you got, bitch? All right, that's what I got. Like it's always just been that energy around that. Everybody was just trying to be great. All that other shit that was satisfied blogs and media and shit, I could, on my life, I ain't never seen none of it. It was like literally show up and go in. It's really about the music around it.
Hey, bro, you that speaks highly of you. But I know one thing you at least saw. Do you remember when we did the interview, and anybody can look it up? It's called Nesby Phips, the DGB interview, and it's one of the proudest things I've ever done. I don't feel I deserve no cookie for this, but I was brought up in a black neighborhood. I did mad time, and most of my friends my whole life been black, and many times they've asked me to refer to them as an N-word and referred to me as such with an A on it. And like rapping along with songs, I ain't never once used the N-word in my life. I've been a junkie, recovered all that shit. I've been sloppy drunk like dude on the Eagles was. Never once used the N-word. And I asked you in that, is it ever acceptable? And you gave this answer. There was an Ice Cube quote that was extremely profound among many other profound things you said. And to be honest with you, as far as my written interviews go, it's the proudest thing I've ever done, just because of I'm not gonna say the depths of knowledge, but the thought provokingness, because we was able to have conversations about race that were truthful without making nobody feel bad.
Yeah, I'm never worrying about making nobody feel bad when I talk, especially when I talk about race, because the facts are the facts. If I remember the interview right, I think I probably might have said that quote about that being our word. and nobody having license to use it. And if you do, you know, there's a price to pay for it. That's probably what I said. Huh?
Almost verbatim.
Right. That's, you know, that still stand. Like, you know, can't nobody.
You know, bro, I know you know what a fashion dread is, right?
A fashion who?
Dread.
Nah, what you mean?
It's somebody who got dreads and ain't Rastafarian.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna get into what I was doing. I was doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, and I somehow ended up in Jamaica, going between like a resort and a locality. And there was a very privileged white individual who had dreads, and he managed to wander off the resort. And man, they held him down and ripped them shits out his motherfucking head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Point being that, like, you know, some things is some people's cultures, and it's just not for no one else.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I want to say we sit around and fly that flag with pride and all that. It's just how things landed. So, you know, they made that word into what they made it into, and
well, you know, my point being was, like, I kind of wanted it on the record with as many different people who I feel are respectable as possible, because, you know, I'm from DC, and then I lived in Harlem a little bit, I lived in Miami a little bit, and I lived in Houston for a long time, and I'm out here in Tampa, which I don't know if you two up on Tampa, but Tampa's like real MAGA standish. Motherfuckers have "Don't tread on me." I see Confederate flags, and I'm down this joint because my wife's parents retired here, and in their defense, they ain't no racist or nothing. They just a little old, and they got a good price here, not knowing what came with it, right? Yeah. And they need our help. And since my wife moved to Houston and helped me do it, you know, a recording studio and everything, I owe it to her. You feel me? And,
right.
And so I'm here for better for worse. But yeah, like the shit's mad different, man.
Yeah, it is.
And that shit's crazy. Like, I just want to find things that we can agree on. Like, I feel all your positions are totally valid. And like, I feel in America, we accept that shit too much. Like, New Orleans don't have problems for 50, 60 years, and people can just say that shit like it's a fact. Or they can say Flint drinking water like it's a fact. Or they can even say poor white people in Appalachia like it's a fact. Or they can say, you know, teachers are underpaid like it's a fact. And it is a fact. But they say it like it's an undeniable fact. And I don't understand why we worrying about any fucking fake ass politicians, reality stars, none of that shit. Why we ain't worried about those basic facts that, you know, I feel decent people should want to do something about.
Right.
And, you know, to your credit, I feel your music has brought those and many more issues up.
Yeah, I try to speak truth when I can.
You know, music wise, Therapy was an outstanding album, but you've been, you know, I just assume, because I don't know, we talked about this before, but this is one of Nesby's designs. I don't know if he sells this t-shirt anymore. He definitely sells lots of art you can buy. I'll put the link in the audio podcast. And yeah. I figured you might have been focusing on your art, but what you've been doing since Therapy creatively?
I've been working in television and film a lot, music supervision, real heavy, licensing and stuff like that. So my hand is still heavily in music. It's just not from the featured artist standpoint. I'll be returning to the studio soon. I'm still kind of loosely recording. I've been playing a lot of guitar and doing songwriting lately. But my artistry is kind of full circle. You know, I rock with music, art, and film, all type of mediums and stuff. So I'm constantly creating, you know, in all areas really. And so, you know, like,
man, my condolences about Cloak and Dagger, bro. I was a couple times I knew exactly what it was. That I knew that was you, and I was proud, and I thought that was a good show.
What you mean my condolences about Cloak and Dagger?
Man, that you know, because I guess the MCU got rid of all the Marvel television shows, that there ain't gonna be no more Cloak and Daggers. I mean, I hope there is one day.
Yeah, you know, I got my shine on now, and I got.
But man, did you?
I got a lot of other people on the show too, so that was a good resume builder for me. So, you know.
Nah, it's a good show too. I think like comic book fans will go back to it for decades, and you know, 15 years from now, you said you got a lot of good people on it. That man, they might get the proverbial whatever the hot streamer is bump at the time.
Yeah, man. Well, a lot of things come from licensing opportunity.
Shit, no bullshit. I remember you was doing something with ESPN. How'd that work out?
ESPN? No, it was the New York Post.
Okay, I'm sorry, the New York Post.
I was I produced theme songs for their podcast, for the Rangers, the Jets, Giants, and I believe the Knicks.
Do you ever worry about being corny in that? Not corny ain't the right word, like too cliche, like putting some sounds on there that's too on the money.
Is it corny, like provide music?
I said corny is the wrong word. Like, do you ever worry about being too cliche, like with just having like the sound of like a ball going through the net or some shit? Because I know you try to do things like at the top level.
It's all sound. What I like about that space is there isn't a cool factor involved, right? It's you know, I'm providing a service, and as a musician, yes, I can provide something that's true to myself, like as the individual in my personality, but I also can facilitate something for, you know, public broadcast, you know, and that's just the flexibility of my skill set. You know, I'm a student of television. I grew up watching television shows, movies, the whole nine, and I always, you know, paid attention to how music drives the narrative.
Yes.
And sound design and all that shit, I dig that shit. I fuck with it. And all of it's practice because, you know, film is my ultimate goal, you know, just producing like full-length content and stuff like that. So I consider it all practice. It's like, you know, it's just
when you say producing, do you mean something like a showrunner, like where your hands involved in everything? Because like if nothing else, bro, like I think it'd be great if you wrote stuff. Like you're a great storyteller and writer.
I am. I'm working on a script right now. So, you know, writing, directing, producing, the whole nine, you know, all of that stuff, to me, it's the ultimate fruition of what you would do as an artist. Like a music video is the closest you would get to it because you have a visual depiction driven by music. You have the art direction of it, you know, the cinematography, the whole nine. So doing something in full-length content, be it a series, a show, or, you know, even commercials, but a movie too. All of that stuff is the ultimate fruition of what I've done my whole career. You know, that'll be the big synergy of everything. So don't be surprised in the next 3 years you may see, you know, and I'm already in that space being a music supervisor. So don't be surprised if you see me come out with a full feature something or a series, mini series, whatever, you know.
I would never be surprised at any of that. I'm curious though, because I know you don't try nothing unless you do your research about it. What's it like trying to get financing for something of that nature? Because I know if one does it out of their own pocket, they take a huge risk.
Well, you don't take a huge risk. You just give up the lion's share. And I've never had to seek out financing. Usually I finance my own stuff, and I plan to continue to do so. I like taking the page from Byron Allen's book, and you know, and maintaining ownership of the content I create, as opposed to creating and just selling it off. You know, I like to think about big pictures. So one of my plans is my business strategies is maintaining the lion's share of the intellectual properties that I create and develop. So you know, I haven't run into any problem with finance because I'm never looking for it. You know, and I don't get into anything where shit is too over my head where I gotta go reach out and ask somebody for $150,000 to make something come to life. I'd rather work on my $7,500 budget and, you know, and grow it from there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm big on maintaining the lion's share. That's one of my biggest principles and strategies in business.
So you know, like if somebody goes to your channel on YouTube, some of those videos you got that are 10+ years old, they're incredibly creative. Was that an example of how you use lesser financing to get a bigger impact and make more money off the product in itself?
Yeah, 100%. Technology has allowed us to leverage those things now, you know, and it used to cost a grip. You used to have all these people around and all this talent and equipment to do so. Now you can really make everything happen from just your phone. I've shot several music videos from the phone. I got a laptop. I got DSLRs now. So, you know, we could all make it happen. You know, we all can. Like anybody can make anything at this stage now. Technology has allowed us to do so, as well as these platforms giving us direct to consumer access. So, you know, I plan on taking advantage of all of those things before us.
You write a lot. That's just investing time and not being intellectually lazy. I'm curious. So, you know, another song of yours I really liked a lot, and I ain't trying to count your pockets, so if you don't want to answer, I won't be offended in the slightest. But the song Bo Jackson's, how much did that video cost to make? Because I thought that was really well done.
I mean, just the supplies we needed to make my shoes fly, it really didn't cost me anything.
Man, that's what's up. I'm not gonna say that propelled you or anything, but that's a damn good song. The only thing though, I gotta know, I noticed you had the black ones in there. You thought the black ones looked better than the white, orange, and blue ones?
Yeah, originals. The black and silver, the black and gray one was the original. He was a Raider. He was a Raiders football player, and they had the 3-4 on the back. Those were the original Bo Jacksons.
I
So
mean, you right about that, but still that being said, you think, see, I would go with the black and gray ones just because the white ones you can only wear like once or twice before they get dirty.
the hardest. It's like it's on brand for Bo Jackson. He was a Raider. So like I'm gonna wear the black and gray that is all day. So and they got the 3-4 on the back. You just
All right,
can't.
so let me ask you this. So this is a true story that happened in my life. I'm leaving a Nike outlet, right? And in the front of it, they got this huge ass bin that's filled with nothing but the white, blue, and orange ones for $19.99.
You didn't buy all of them.
I got like 7 of them in my size. So
Right.
so you wouldn't have passed that by though, right?
Bought the whole bin and resold them online and kept my side for myself.
Oh, I mean, it was thousands. Yeah, I ain't have it like that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd have bought that whole fucking bin if it was that cheap. How long would that was?
God, it gotta be like 2005 or something. There's a Potomac Mills in Woodbridge, Virginia.
That's crazy.
They always had something like that though. Another time they had like those Nike Go It Dome boots there for $19.99, a whole bunch of them. That time I bought more and sold them on eBay, but yeah, you're right. I probably should have got them all. Like scared money don't make no money, right?
On some Gary V shit. You gonna make that money back.
Yeah, I shit. I mean, I know you got that hustler mentality. How hard is it? Some of the art you paint, which I know must be lessened by how good it is, and then how much does the I wouldn't say notoriety because that sometimes is pejorative, but how well known you are in your city musically and otherwise helps you sell your art.
It's never hard. I never put a big expectation on it. You know, it's art, so I don't try to lean on it like I do, you know, like regular product, if you will, right? You know, curation is everything, how you lay it out there. And you know, when it comes to art, after you create it, it belongs to the people who purchase it. And as an artist, it's healthy to know when to let that stuff go. So I just make what I make and I make it available and it belongs to who it belongs to. I never know who it's intended for, who is going to gravitate to it. So I'm very open in that sense. So, you know, it's never hard for me because I'm never trying. I just make it and I make it available. People, those who are attracted to it, find it and then it moves. And it's been a very organic process for me selling art since 2015 when I took a surprise trip to Miami and I landed in the middle of Art Basel, not knowing it was Art Basel. And that really turned me out. I had been doing art, but never tried to sell it. And then it took me seeing a guy set up an art gallery in the back of a rider truck. And that really showed me like on the most basic level, you know, you could get it in with art. And, you know, I returned, began selling prints of the work I had, started creating more work. And now I just, you know, I make things as they come to me. I try to keep it, again, very natural and organic. And, you know, I'm rewarded plentiful for everything that I've done thus far. And so I'm gonna just keep that same formula going because that's what's been allowing the value to grow. Because it's not about money, it's about value. The money is just a byproduct of it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's spoken like somebody that's a true artist as opposed to a true capitalist.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking in the slightest, but what you have available, I can't speak on what your latest batch is, but what you have available for now in Shopify is more message oriented. And those are some powerful slogans. That being said, and please everybody check it out. Again, the links will be in all the audio podcasts, wherever you get those from. But you know, I also like when you draw. Do you have any more that are your paintings coming out?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming, bro. I don't plan on retiring from anything. It's not like I've dealt with it and I'm done. There's so much to come. It's just like right now, what you see, the main thing that's moving is buku power, because this transcends the art space, even though I'm doing it through art. You know, this is a campaign in Black confidence, and there isn't much in that lane going on, and I think it's very crucial. So it's almost like a duty to my people to project this message out in the public space.
Damn sure there's a lot of things telling Black people that they ain't good enough, huh?
100%. I mean, that's just the history of the West. So, you know, I'm just here to offset that and pour something back into my people. And the response has been very great. The demand for it is great. And it's my most proud moment in my career to directly pump this back into my people. So, you know, I'm rolling with this as long as it's showing itself to have use in my community. So, you know, this is beyond art. This is a duty. a responsibility that I have, that it was an inclination I had, and I'm following it all the way to the end.
You don't much be calling no attention to yourself for the shit you be doing though, which I admire. I mean, there's really not nothing that you need to even say about that. Just anyone listening to this. This
Well,
ain't no man calling no news crews to the things he's doing.
yeah, I'm not a narcissist about my art. Like things have a purpose, and I put them.
Well, I speak of more of the community related stuff, because you know, like this ain't just some shit you make music about or paint pictures about. You out there making things better.
I'm trying to happen in real life. You know, that's just my deal. You know, I'm not here to tap dance anymore. I'm here to play a part. You know, so
without taking no line share of the credit, let's not even get into that. But what's something you were involved with, periphery or otherwise, that you were proud when you saw it come to fruition?
0017, if you're familiar with it. It's 17 ward as well. I was born, I moved away for a little while to the 3rd ward, but this is where my roots are. My family been here for over 120 years. And you know, I pretty much rebranded my hood. A lot of people know the most infamous part of the neighborhood of the ward is Hollygrove. That's where I live at right now. But the 17 ward, you know, when I rebranded it as 0017, and we created like you know, a label, a clothing line, and you know, so much, it really the pride of the neighborhood rose, and that's how it's only referred to as such now. You know, I see the logos still being worn and duplicated, the whole nine. I could go into a big, you know, copyright thing about it, but it was literally like my gift to my neighborhood and my section and the history of this area is, you know, to brand it as such. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. So if you know, the 0017 is definitely something that makes me smile. You know, I'll be riding up the street, see somebody, they got the hoodie on, they got the hat on, socks, something, you know. People have a stick on, they call, people got it tatted in their skin. You know, I'm very proud of that.
I mean, Black entrepreneurship is definitely a beautiful thing. You know, the last thing that Black America, you know, the one thing that Black America don't need white America doing for it is telling it what it needs to do. But I feel that every community, be it ethnic, whatever, economic empowerment is the key to survival. Before, I mean, maybe it buys political power, maybe political power is irrelevant, but there's no power that don't come, I mean, really down the barrel of a gun, proverbially or literally. But you can't get guns without money, and I love seeing any disenfranchised community get resources for itself without having to rely on other people. And
right.
You know, demonstrating the possibility of that. You know, a long time ago, I asked you some of the artists that went from New Orleans you liked, and one of the first you listened, Nipsey Hussle, and you know, I especially related to his message of building stores in his community, because I think offering proof of concept of these things is so powerful, because like you said earlier, the television ain't gonna show you that shit.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Do you have a storefront? Since I mean, like, you're definitely selling a myriad of products now.
I'm not a guy. I'm not a brick and mortar guy. I think I like to leverage the internet as much as I can. Virtual real estate is worth way more than brick and mortar these days. You can reach more people like that, and I don't like to put pressure on my business model to have to, you know, pay somebody else some rent. It'd be different if I own something. I don't own a storefront right now, and I don't have an interest of creating a storefront as of right now. That's just that doesn't fit into my business strategy.
How about like maybe not as a business, but as like a gathering place for young creatives?
When the time is right, like that's not a direct goal I'm going at. When the time is right, you know, I'll have something that people could congregate, you know, a space that people could congregate at in the name of that. But right now, you know, I don't see it, but I'm for sure that that's gonna come along. To me, it's kind of inevitable. So, but it's about like.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that occurs organically, whether it's in like a coffee shop or a college, I don't know, whatever, or an alley or whatever.
Exactly, and we really just coming out of COVID and look like shit. We might be on fucking lockdown again. So from what I'm hearing, so I'm not really looking to create that just yet, something like that. So
yeah, timing is always everything. Hey, just out of curiosity, since you know you're so plugged in, you know, one thing, and I could be wrong about this because I'm getting older, so I won't be going out as much. But it seems to me there's a lot less spoken word shit, and when it is spoken word, it ain't Def Jam spoken word. It's gentrified spoken word. What's the spoken word scene like in New Orleans?
I'm not familiar. I haven't been around it in quite some time. I haven't really been around spoken word community since around Katrina 2005 and some stuff. So I wouldn't know.
What was it a big part then, or at least of something that you could find?
And some of the heavy hitters in that space are now like one of the biggest ones is Tiana Tank. Her name Tank. She got a band called Tank and the Bangers, and now she's taking it.
I know about Tank the Bangers. Tiny Desk is insanity.
Yeah,
You know, it's funny. I watched that thinking it was Tank the R&B singer, because like, you know, you can't see, you can only see them little thumbnails. And I was like, shit, I wonder what the fuck Tank is up to. And he got a group called the Bangers. And I watched that. I was blown the fuck away. I went way down the Tank and the Bangers rabbit hole. They go hard as shit.
Yeah, she awesome. I'm cool with her little brother Ivy. He go by Piers. That's a performing family. So
hey, I ain't never too proud. If you could hook me up with I would love to do a show with Tank. I greatly enjoy her music.
If I probably loop in with her manager or something, they can put that together.
Yeah, I ain't like the mother podcasters. I'd be a little bit thirsty, Jack. Shit, I'm trying to make this shit happen. You feel me?
Gotcha.
And you know, since like I said, like you said so much thought-provoking things before. You know, one thing I'm curious about, you know, especially given you know, being related to Mahalia Jackson, and you know, the first man being from Africa, and so I know that's some roundabout shit, but you know, be it science, music, poetry, mathematics, whatever, we all kind of stand on the shoulders of those that came before us, right? Because like we wouldn't be where we were at. I mean, mathematicians wouldn't have arrived at, you know, I don't know much about that, but like this theorem, if it hadn't been for this fucker in 1850 or whatever, right? And then like rap wouldn't exist without dub plates. And I guess dub plates wouldn't have existed without some Africans settling in the Caribbean as opposed to elsewhere, because I'm sure environmental circumstances caused dub plates. You know, maybe spaghetti was Italian first, whatever. And given the fact that we all stand on those who come before us, and it's been proven that the first people were, I mean, there's no disputing it, we're genetically black, whether you're going by the Bible or you're going by science, however you want to look at it, you can't credibly argue that point. Is culture appropriation even possible?
Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible.
Because I think there's something that's like culturally rapacious.
What that mean? Rapacious? I ain't never heard that word.
Like rape. Like I think when you take advantage of shit and don't give credit, or people suffer at the hands of you performing something they created, that's culturally rapacious. But I think the natural evolution of everything could be viewed in some lenses as appropriation.
Yeah, to a degree, it's all about how things are done, the curation, you know, the flow, the how it flowed into that, all type of, you know, it's a case by case thing on that. But appropriation is real, you know.
See, again, like I think the shit that's disadvantaged to the culture that it's harvesting whatever it's getting from, I think that's a bad thing morally, whatever. I think that's culturally rapacious. But like cultural appropriation, let's say, without even arguing about it, let's say Eminem appropriated rap music. I mean, Eminem made some quality rap music. Would rap better music be?
I don't think Eminem appropriated rap music. And I don't think rap was solely a black thing. It's, you know, it's a universal.
So how about Elvis? That was clearly appropriation, but some of those songs are good.
Yeah, I mean, Elvis ripped things off, and of course it took off because he's in a white dominant culture.
Definitely, I'm not disputing any of that.
Yeah, but
that was rapacious.
Right, but you know, Eminem, you know, Eminem was a practitioner, and he did well. I don't think he ever came through trying to act black. I think he respected the rules that came before him, and he had his success for the reason he had his success. I don't be having problems with Eminem.
So how about like them and I'm saying Filipino because they were Filipino, the ones I'm thinking of, breakdancers. It was on America's Got Talent.
What about them?
So like why isn't that appropriation?
Hip hop is universal. Hip hop is,
I mean, I agree. So then how do people determine what's appropriation? Because sometimes cornrows is appropriation. And true story, bro, I was homeless on the streets and I got adopted by a black family, right? And my aunties used to sit my head in vinegar so it'd kink up. I didn't get my first haircut till I went to prison. And they used to braid my hair, and this is before Allen Iverson. And I wasn't trying to appropriate shit, but if somebody had put my picture on Instagram, if there was such a thing in like 1993,
That's what I'm saying.
I would.
Appropriation is a case by case circumstance, and that's not something I ever get into. I don't sit around discussing like issues and stuff like that. A lot of people think I be on that type of shit, and I really don't. I kind of just be sitting on my posters, observing everything, and I don't be sitting around here calling foul on everything that goes on. I'm not the fucking the people police or the culture.
Well, my larger point was that if nothing's really cultural appropriation, maybe that's not an actual thing except for the cultural rapaciousness, and it's actually a tool used to divide us. Because I think the biggest problem is that they keep poor people apart. Because if poor people of all creeds could unite, that would really overthrow the system.
Yeah, it definitely can and will. Because that's the majority of the world. The majority of the world is poor.
And a lot of things I see as examples of divisiveness, because then I feel like I'm a little bit bulletproof on things. Because when I didn't like them when they were happening to people of color, I spoke up about it then. I got receipts going back decades. I mean, one time when I was in prison, I led a hunger strike so Muslims could eat, during Ramadan, because, a lot of times in prison, your last meal is at 4:30 and it's not dark yet.
Yeah.
So these cats were starving like shit. And so like, I don't give a fuck who it's happening to. I ain't like when women get treated like shit at jobs and be crying because of some fucked up boss. Right. So I don't like who it's happening to bad in general. And I think a lot of shit on whatever fucking side, like I ain't getting on those sides, but I think a lot of that shit's manufactured to divide us.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And that's why people like you are important, because you help bring people together.
I like to keep a harmonious vibe, so
I can dig it. So just a few things about music before we get out of here. What New Orleans artists other than yourself have you listened to the most? Hip hop wise.
So
that doesn't mean they're the best or anything. You might have heard them the most because you was in a club, so you ain't picking no favorites, none of that shit.
I gotta shout out Mack, because Mack just touched down, bro. Mack,
yes, sir.
He was a big influence on me, him and his now she used to go by Stone. But I listen to a lot of Mack, a lot of Juvenile, a lot of BG. Definitely early Wayne.
Would you listen to like UNLV and shit like that?
100%. That was the sound of the time, like that. If you were from New Orleans, that's what you listened to.
See, we didn't get that in DC, bro. And so now to go back and get it, it's expensive as shit.
That was a local thing.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we started seeing, I believe it was a big time. I don't know, it was an album that had, it was a BG album and it had Bun B on it, but it was like way before it was in record stores. You'd start seeing that shit at like these little kind of like swap meet things we had in DC.
Right.
Shit, I mean, I saw that before I ever saw a Master P album, to be real with you.
Yeah.
But I definitely saw About It on TV before I ever saw any Cash Money stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of hit the mainstream before Cash Money did.
Did that shit really change New Orleans music?
What did?
Like that whole like mid to late 90s period.
Cash Money was the whole late 90s for New Orleans. Master P, he kind of got it in Richmond, in California. So we ain't really know people doing all of that stuff. It wasn't until like Ice Cream Man and then everything that came after that it kind of made a resurgence back down here or whatever. But Cash Money really defined the sound and the look of the mid to late 90s in New Orleans.
So if you was around these cats somewhat, did you ever see like when they be around Dipset or especially like Jewels?
I wasn't around the Jewels and all that. All of that kind of was right before the YMCMB stuff really took off. And
right.
It was just Wayne. It was all about Wayne, and Wayne was kind of blending with all of these flavors and sounds and stuff. So I didn't see like the Dipset interaction and stuff like that.
I don't know how much you know about DC, but like we just always like good music. Like in the mid 90s, I was listening to EA Ski, Midwest shit, Gangsta Nip, Rap a Lot was popular shit. Point being is we never picked no favorites, and I would hear a lot of Wayne and Jewels at the same time. And I always wondered how much they influenced each other.
Right.
you know, because like a lot of it's like a natural progression. And then sometimes I notice one or the other would start doing something the other did better than the original.
Right.
Does that shit get competitive when you have a friend that's a rapper?
No, not for me. I don't know. I don't compete with niggas. I do me. You know what I'm saying? I don't do the competitive thing. Nobody could do me like me. So I just always do me. And we just put it down. Like you just want to, you know, put your best foot forward. You don't want nobody to like, not necessarily outshine you, but you want to hold your own, you know, and it comes out better when everybody's just holding their own. I ain't trying to be better than my man. I'm just trying to come with that same intensity and energy. So we collectively held that shit down.
So you want to make the song or album or whatever sound good?
Yeah, just by just showing up in the moment every time, you know.
Did anybody ever record to Phips instrumentals?
There's a few, you know, underground cats that might have done it. Nothing that's too notable, nothing but, you know.
Is that acceptable to you, or do you want it to be left as it is?
No, I mean, you know, rock out. You feeling the vibe. I know I be taking P-Rock beats and Marco Polo beats and, you know, all kind of people beats. When I feel like it, I go jump on them when I got something to say.
So if they start to get popping, then what we got work? They got to work out some splits and everything, though, huh?
Right, naturally, it's business.
Well, I mean, anybody that hears this, I definitely suggest you go check out Phips instrumentals. I was mowing my grass listening to them Johnson, and I got done fast as shit. Shit, I guess I really don't got too much more to ask you. What's the best place for people to find you online and your socials, brother?
I'm most active on Instagram, but y'all can hit me everywhere. Just put in Nesby Phips, no underscores, no.
Is that SoundCloud still popping?
Yeah, 100%. That's what all my catalog is. The things I couldn't put in the stores, you can find them all available on SoundCloud.
All right, that's a bet. Well, shit, man. Thank you for your time. I always appreciate it. It's an honor, and I'm looking forward to hearing the new music.
All right, I appreciate all your love and support over the years, brother. 100%.
No doubt, shit. I definitely will, and please let me know whenever you release some. I'll make sure I get it out there as much as I can.
I'm tired, fool. I'm about to check in with dinner with the family, man. I appreciate you. Hear me?
Yes, sir, man. You take it light.
All right, man.
All right, peace. Done. Good to go. Yes, I am done. After he was like, I didn't know.